Road accidents have claimed so many lives in Kenya to rob many of their livelihoods and change their course of life. As families are robbed of their loved ones, their caregivers, others get life-threatening injuries which impact on their physical and mental well-being. As the affected sink into depression, others are able to weather the storm and rise again. And that is the story of Agnes Luchivya, one of the survivors of the 1999 tragic road accident that claimed the lives of 5 Barclays Eagles basketball players and their coach on their way back to Nairobi from a Kenya Basketball Premier League match against KPA of Mombasa.
For me, it was tough. It was really tough, and especially psychologically. As a young girl who's just started life outside school, getting incapacitated, being on crutches, first being on a wheelchair, and then for some months, and then after that being on crutches for almost 2 years. And then remember at this point in time, I was a mono at that time in campus, because by the time we got the accident, actually it was a month after I had joined campus. So it kind of took away a bit of my campus life, because your movement is limited. You can't be in too many places, so you can't enjoy the full benefits of being in campus.
She was just a fresh in campus with the whole world ahead of her and could have been crushed by the traumatic experience, but she had to pick up the pieces after some years.
I took it with stride. I used that opportunity, like I said, to teach myself other things. That's how I learned how to coach a little bit, did a little bit of coaching here and there, but at the same time, worked on myself psychologically, because the psychological bit was bigger than the physical healing. And for that, for about 2 years, I was seeing as a therapist and a counselor, just to help me get through the trauma, because again, losing 5 teammates and your coach at the same time, and having been there, seeing them passing on, for some of them, holding on to some of them as they were passing on in your hands, was not an easy thing. Was not an easy thing for me.
Healing takes time and courage, and eventually she managed to navigate through and found a peace of mind through the very sport that had landed her in crutches.
So for me, the psychological bit took quite some time. But getting back to playing was actually also a therapy on its own. I really fought myself mentally to get back into the game, because I knew the only way I was going to heal was by coming back to basketball, coming back onto the court.
Her resilience and resurgence saw her guide her team to the finals of the Kenya Basketball Women's Premier League and the Zone 5 title to cap it all.
I got very many MVP awards during that period. Unfortunately, Eaglets did not get to win the league during any of those times, but I got to be MVP in very many tournaments in the league, most promising player, upcoming player, MVP of the regular season, but I never really got to get the trophy as Eaglets. But I think for me the one that really comes back to mind is winning the Zone 5 championship with Eaglets in 2005. Just a few years after I had gotten back, and Eaglets was getting off its feet. We had just moved from being Eaglets, from being Barclays Eaglets to being Sprite Eaglets, and then going for the Zone 5, and for me also winning the MVP. That was a really personal one, because at that time the team had not won the league. We had gotten our rights to going to the Zone 5 by winning the tournaments across the country, because those days the winner of the tournaments, there used to be 6 tournaments, and the winner of those 6 tournaments across the country would also get an opportunity to go to Zone 5. And that's how we went to Zone 5 and then won it. and that was special. It was really special. And then coming back into the league and making it to the finals, going with KPA all the way to Game 5 was an amazing experience. So for me, that was very close to me.
She also managed to captain the Kenyan team to the All Africa Games in 2007, where her team reached the quarterfinals.
I'm also a former national team player for 13 years and the longest serving captain for 7 years. When I got back into playing in about, I think it was 2001, 2002, I managed to get a call-up back into the national team. But my first call-up in the national team was actually in 1999, just about a year and a half after I had left school. So in 2002, after I got back to playing, I got called again to the national team. And then by 2003, I had been made captain of the national team. Being also captain of the All Africa Games, overall captain of the All Africa Games in 2007, was an honor for me and really great honor, because not just about being the captain of the basketball team, but being captain of the whole contingent meant quite a lot for me, because that meant that my leadership skills were already being seen by somebody else, by other people, and being able to manage all the other sports, listen to them, get to know what their problems are, and being able to cascade that to the management. Being the link between the management and the athletes was also a great moment for me.
Her love affair with basketball started way back in high school after stints in various sports.
Basketball was introduced to me by a friend of my brother while I was at Alliance Girls High School, Form 2, and I took up the sport. And as they say sometimes, history then is forgotten, because then that's how I got into the sport. But previously I used to play tennis, I've been a swimmer, and also I loved athletics a lot.
She was also gifted academically and found the right balance to excel in both.
I would say it's a combination of the two, yes. For me, basketball while I was at Alliance gave me the opportunity to distress. That I used basketball as my moment to distress and to help me to be able to relax and then get back into my books. I was very good at English literature, especially because English, from the time I was in primary school, has always been my best subject. But also geography, mathematics, history, as well as business studies. I did a Bachelor of Arts with economics major and Arabic language.
The Stoke, as she was nicknamed, played for University of Nairobi Dynamites, KCITI, before she joined the Barclays Eagles, a team would later be known as the Storms after the road accident.
Immediately I finished high school. I was scouted while I was in school and joined KCITI. But I wasn't a student at KCITI. I just joined to play the game. And there I met a number of players who were also playing club, apart from playing in the universities and colleges basketball league. They were also playing club. And so I tagged along with them and ended up at Barclays Eagles. And there started my journey in 1998. Joining Eagles, actually, at the beginning, I didn't expect that I would immediately get into the team, into the main team. But after I joined, and within the month, I was already in the main team. And within about 2 months, I was in the starting five. So for me, first was my motivation was really to improve myself each and every day. And I kept on training extra, because I would go to college in the morning. Then from college, I go to KCITI for training. Then from KCITI training, I go to Eaglets for training. So I was doing double training every day, every single day. And over the weekends, I was also training. And then after that, I joined the University of Nairobi Dynamites before I got into university, actually, towards the end of 1998, when they had already announced the collapse for university, and I knew I was joining Nairobi University. Then I started playing for UON Dynamites and moved from KCITI. But those days, Dynamites was only playing in the Universities and Colleges League. And then Eaglets was playing in the league, so I could juggle the two without having any conflict and without having any, with enough time to do both. Yeah, so after that by the time I was getting into university, I continued juggling the two. And that has basically been my life, juggling between sports and either sports and academic, sports and work. When I finished and graduated in 2004, I joined Coca-Cola, and immediately, in fact, I joined Coca-Cola just before I had even graduated. Immediately we finished our exams. A couple of months after that, I joined Coca-Cola, and I started working and juggling also now, working with basketball. Yeah.
Agnes also coached in between while juggling jobs.
I'm a real hustler. Yes, my brothers always tell me I'm the hustler in the family because I've always juggled between either 2-3 things at any point in my life. So I love playing basketball, and there's nothing as good as being on the court. However, I coached, and when I coached for a short period. I coached also, apart from my campus days, I also coached Nairobi Aviation College when they played in the Division 1, won with them the Division 1, and got them promoted into the Premier League. Then I coached for a couple of years before the team was disbanded when they were in the Premier League. That was, again, another experience for me.
Her hustling paid off as she learned a lot along the way, which equipped her with the skills she needed much later.
I think just as a former player and as a former coach also, and at some point I was also team manager also for quite a long time for Storms. I think I've been able to understand all the aspects of the game. Coming off a player, I've been able to understand what players go through. First, just in the club, at club level, at national team level, I've been able to understand coaches and what coaches go through, what team managers go through, what team owners go through, because I've also owned a team in the league. So I've transitioned through sort of like I've gone 360, all of that before getting into administration. So for me, it has helped me because it has helped me understand some of the pain points and some of the things that happen, at the lowest level. And before I even got into Kenya Basketball Federation executive, I'd also served in the Nairobi Basketball Association as a deputy secretary. So also at that point, I've gotten to understand also what counties go through and the pain points. So with that knowledge, it has helped me sometimes when I'm looking at things, I'm looking at them objectively at them. At the federation point, I'm looking at it objectively because I look at it in terms of what's the impact of whatever decisions we're making or policies we are coming up with, how it will affect all these people who are involved, all these stakeholders, from the players to the coaches, to the team managers, team owners, counties.
And it came to pass when she was appointed the Kenya Basketball Federation Secretary General following the resignation of Ambrose Kisoi, a first for women in basketball, and a position she will contest when they finally go to the polls.
I'm still going to, I'm looking forward to run for Secretary General, because if you remember, I came into the Secretary General post really based because of a resignation of the previous Secretary General. But looking to be able to run for Secretary General, finish some of the work that we have started doing, help coordinate and get more things moving in the right direction. And for me, the other thing is to really build the relationships with basketball and around basketball.
She has taken her role with gusto to promote the game from the grassroots, nurture more talent, especially the youth, and ensure the leagues are up and running and players are more exposed than ever.
We are trying to expand the league, and I know we've still had quite a number of issues, especially when it comes to fixtures. We're working on that by going digital. We couldn't introduce the digital system mid-season, but we know we'll be ready by the time we are starting the next season. One of the things we've done, we already have a digitized player registration system now in place. And with that, it's able also to produce fixtures. It's able to give us, show visibility of transfers, show visibility of teams that have played. And with that, once we introduce it next season, we are confident that we're going to get our fixtures right. Because that's, especially for fixtures, it's been a very pain point. It's been a very big pain point for us. So with that, we are hoping that we can be able to now start having a fully digitized league, and once the league gets digitized, it gives everybody more transparency, and it becomes a lot easier to manage and to run. And if you notice now, we are doing quite a bit on the social side, just on social media side, to try and drive also traffic to the games. Sometimes the gym is full, sometimes it's not, but it's because we've also got to make sure that all the teams are getting to a higher level, because some of the teams, some of the games are quite low key, but we are talking to teams and telling them, you need to grow your fan base.
This has given rise to the 3x3 basketball team who are going places, the FIBA connection in elevating the game, among others.
I think we've made quite a bit of progress the last few years. If I look at it, I'll really try to start from the bottom, just in a nutshell. We have done quite a bit with our youth. Last year we came back into participating in the zonal youth championships after almost 12 years of being away. So that already is beginning to give us some opportunity to identify talent at a younger age and to be able to give exposure to our youthful players. And with that also, one of the other things is just not the participation. For us, it's about the participation, having a database and keeping track of these players. So like now, we are keeping track of, we have our database of under 16, we have our database of under 18, we have our database of under 21, under 23 players. From youth programs, we've also been really focusing on the 3x3. Why 3x3? 3x3 is the fastest growing urban sport right now globally. And we are saying that we need to have a piece of that pie. Why? Because it's easy to execute, it's easy to get players who can play it, it's easy for us to send players out there to participate because it's smaller teams. Last year, like you might be knowing, we got the opportunity, almost made it to the Olympics. The team got to the universality. Unfortunately, we didn't make it, but that's not the end of it. For us, that was a starting point. That was the starting point, and we believe our greatest focus right now is on LA 2028, but we believe that we're going to get there. So with that, in February this year, we had FIBA 3x3 referees training in Mombasa, which we requested FIBA to come down to do that coaching. We got very good response. We were looking for 30 referees. We got more than 150 registered. And so we're working now with FIBA to see when they can be able to have another training for our referees for 3x3 in Kenya. And with that, we hope to be able to grow 3x3 to better levels. On the coaching side, we've also had, and still on the refereeing side, even for 5-on-5, we've not left it behind. We've requested for additional spaces to FIBA to get more international referees, because currently we have one male and one female. But we have made that request and they have taken in the request. We now have additional referees who are going to go through the international coaching, international refereeing process. And for that, we're really grateful, because it took negotiations and sitting down with FIBA and being able to request for those additional spaces. We're also looking at table officials, so we've also done some trainings for table officials and ensured that they have been registered in FIBA, so that then they can bring up their competency levels when it comes to just being on the table and officiating at the table.
The KBF Secretary General has also broken the barriers to head the Zone 5 Women's Commission and urges all women to speak up and let their voices be heard instead of playing shadow and catch up.
And I must agree, it's still very difficult and to navigate all of that. Sometimes people think that just because you're a woman, you shouldn't speak at certain times. Sometimes people believe that because you're a woman, you should not give directions. Your voice should not be heard. You should be there to take notes. But for me, I've been a little bit, it takes quite a bit of persistence. It also takes quite a bit of strategic and intentional planning. Even sometimes when I go into meetings, I have to plan, because I know that I'll probably get there and they might think I should not say this or I should not. But one of the things that I have learned is to speak up. Is to speak up. Let my voice be heard, but let me also not bring out my voice in the sense that I'm trying to put it, to make people feel pity for me for being a woman. So it's not about I'm bringing up these topics because I'm a woman. I'm bringing up these topics because I'm in basketball. I'm bringing up these topics as a sports person. And that sometimes is the difference, because when you try to make it be a pity party about women and women empowerment and what, sometimes it doesn't go down well, and people start thinking that, oh, we should feel sorry for you because you're a woman. So I try as much as possible not to make it be that I'm bringing this point because I'm a woman, but I'm bringing this point because this point is important.
And all it takes is a cool and calm demeanor, a strong support system, positive mindset, etc.
I have learned how to know when I should keep my boundaries and know when I should push it and push it further. It's also good to have and create a good support system around you also with the men, and not necessarily because there's anything other than work related that's going on, but just understanding that you have to have a support system, especially when you're getting into, as a woman especially, when you're getting into leadership roles and leadership positions. That support system is what is going to help you more and more. And one of the other things I try to do sometimes is to understand people. So before I speak or before I speak or before I attend, like I said, I attend even just a meetup with someone, I try to understand them and where they're coming from, so that by the time I'm meeting them, I have a little bit of history about them, and it gives me a little bit more confidence because I know how this person operates, so then I know how to handle them.
Agnes Luchivya is a visionary leader who overcame adversity to excel in the sport of basketball, as well as rise through the ranks to become the Secretary General of the Kenya Basketball Federation and be co-opted in the National Olympic Committee of Kenya Board. A woman of substance, a shujaa.
I'm really keeping my options open right now because, yes, I will be defending the Secretary General position in the upcoming elections, but there's a number of other things that I also want to do, especially when it comes to not only in Kenya, but also on the continent in terms of basketball.